Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to go into more depth about something we touched upon in another video, and that's how to avoid burnout in youth sports, because it's happening. So what can we do about it? That is what we'll be addressing in today's video. Now, if we're going to do justice to this topic, we want to understand why kids are burning out and leaving the sports by age 13, which they are, what it is specifically that's causing that, some of the strategies that we can use, right? We begin to understand strategies that can help curb that tail because it's important, how to build a culture of positivity and resilience and all of these things, all of those things and more. That's what we're going to be getting into details about in this video. 70% of kids are dropping out of youth sports by the age of 13. Burnout's really the reason. Stop being fun. One of the major reasons it stops being fun is over specialization. We're beginning to get kids doing one sport more and more. And I will tell you that sometimes kids, you might ask them, do you want to play fall baseball too? We just did summer baseball, and they may not really feel comfortable saying no, or really understanding what they're getting themselves into. And like baseball, yeah, I like baseball. And then they get into it, it's like, oh man, I'm getting tired of it. You as a parent need to begin to spot some of those signs. All right. So that's one of the things we want to talk about. What are some of those signs? And body language is going to tell you a lot, right? Them beginning to you want to go play catch, something fathers and sons, something mothers and daughters, mothers and sons will do. And they begin to not maybe want to watch some of the sports they used to watch too, because they're getting burnt out. The body language is going to be a huge thing. That communicates so much, right? When you are watching them competing, are you seeing the same sort of passion, that same sort of intensity? That is going to be one huge sign. Second is you might want to begin to even think about why you're asking the question about participating in another season of the same sport versus, hey, we've got soccer going on, and Jimmy and Sarah and some other, they're doing soccer. Would want to do that with them? Yeah, right. They're young enough. They're still going to take your encouragement to do something different, and it as an adult, young age, that's what I'm suggesting you do, is you encourage your child to do multiple sports and try different sports. If they have a passion for one, fantastic. You can pursue that more as they get older. But when they're young, step up as the parent, be the parent, and get them involved in more sports. I think I stopped doing that probably a little too early, as my kids began to specialize a little bit more on baseball by the time they were in late middle school. I still think that was probably a little too early, all right, especially for my oldest. My youngest and my middle, they did multiple sports right into high school. One of the first strategies is multiple sports. Get them involved in multiple sports. Prioritize rest and recovery. Think about the process, not the outcome. We want to really be focusing also on building a mindset of perseverance, of dealing with with failures, building positivity in your own self-talk and all these other things. That whole mindset building, athletics are a huge way to train mindset. It's why another reason I'm such a big believer in mindset training. But these are things that parents should be doing, right? Is you want to encourage. You might see your son or daughter being really good at one particular sport, and other kids that they might be a little bit better at 8 years old, 9 years old, just focusing on that one sport year round. So you go, oh, if they're going to stay good, I should also do that. No. Fight that. All right. Unless you have a truly gifted prodigy type child, fight that. Right. you're doing them a service by getting them involved in multiple sports, and you're developing more athleticism. I've seen it over and over. Those kids who are playing multiple sports, developing those athleticism, they will very often surpass, by the time they're in high school, some of these kids who specialize at a young age. I've seen it over and over again. So that's one. Positively, open communication with your child about encouraging them to do different ones. If they tried a season of lacrosse, golf, swimming, and they didn't like it, all right, let's try another one, right? But get them doing more, get them involved in multiple sports, get them having fun, right, with these sports. That's one of the biggest things you can do. And work with the coaches to help maintain a positive thing. Help as a parent, maybe pull a coach offside if you think they aren't quite handling things well. Work with any organization that they're part of to help train coaches. All that are things you can do as a parent. As parents, and you have a child, and if I'm going to, again, use my oldest son as an example, because we had him, he played some basketball and baseball. We didn't really have a fall sport. And soccer, I think maybe I should have covered. I was a soccer player in high school. There was some other families, though, a couple, that were baseball people, and there was a fall baseball league that started up. And, you know, I love baseball myself. So we asked him, like, what do you want to do? And this is little league age, so he was like 11 or 12. And he chose baseball. And I don't think he had any regrets about that. But he did, I do remember talking about in high school, where there was talk about, yeah, he probably would have been a good goalie. And I think he would have been. And actually, the high school goalie was a kid who did multiple sports, baseball, basketball, and soccer, but did a little bit more soccer than he did baseball. And he became the goalie because he was an infielder, like my son was also a pitcher. And that skill set also translates well to being a goalie. But because he liked being a soccer, playing soccer a little bit more, he became the high school goalie. And he might have even been a 4-year starter. So I'm not sure whether my son would have been, but the competition between the two of them, because they played baseball together and they were friends with each other, would have been really good for the team and probably good for each other. But I think I might have steered a little bit more towards baseball. I didn't do that with my other kids, right? I really wanted to emphasize multiple sports. And they all did soccer, basketball, and baseball, softball for my daughter. And there's no question in my mind, those multiple sports really helped their athleticism. It helped them and their friends who also did multiple sports, their peer group. That was the culture that these families had. The fathers and moms had all kind of grown up with that same idea. You do a sport for each season. You don't do the same sport all year round. It's just not the way we were brought up. And the coaches appreciated that. They liked that. No question in my mind, it helped improve their athleticism. That's what we were kind of talking about with this culture of athleticism versus a specific sport, at least into middle school. And I strongly believe through middle school. I did a whole video on that, but you know, that's kind of what we wanted to wrap up with here, is talking about that cultural aspect of building that. And I experienced that with my family. That wraps up this particular video. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Check out other videos. In particular, you might be interested in the video, How Much is Too Much in Youth Sports. So check that out today. Come back and see us in another.